But we're going to wind it up here with the last point, which is monetizing your newsletter. And we've been talking about it on and off throughout the whole thing. So I won't go into this too much more. But I think the number one priority, it sounds like most people here have a paid print product and a paywall. So your goal with the newsletter, number one goal is probably converting subscribers. So just expanding the funnel or widening the top of the funnel, the awareness level, developing the interest and getting them to make that decision through the targeted promotions and actually take action with a coupon, the logic behind that. And then there's also this opportunity for local advertising. So let's throw this out to the crowd. How many of you all are running display ads of some kind, banner ads on your newsletter? Because you can get all the same stats that you can from your website. So there's no reason this can't fold into an existing package you're selling for like a web ad. So Melissa and Gretchen both say yes, running ads in the newsletter. So are those the exact same ads that you're running on the website? So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. You design a leaderboard ad, and then you say that leaderboard ad will show up on the homepage and in the newsletter. Is that how you're doing it, or is it specific? Okay, so the exact same ads. And then in terms of delivering an ROI, do you look at your website and your newsletter stats? Are you able to put those together into one number that says, look, last month you got this many impressions across the website and the newsletter, and you got this many clicks? Because with most newsletter programs, they're going to measure all this for you in each. So, okay, that's great. Good to hear, Melissa. Gretchen says in some cases, in others, they are not on the site. So you're selling just newsletter ads. That's interesting. I'm curious. So that's probably just a budget issue with the advertiser, I would assume, because why wouldn't you want the ad on the website if part of the deal? But I think to have different, a la carte options makes sense. Compiling stats is great job if you have a teen on. Oh, thank you, Melissa. So this is some practical advice on how to get this done. Yeah, so compiling stats isn't always going to be an automated thing that you can just flip a switch and send these stats to your advertiser. So you do need someone to go in there, but it's a pretty straightforward job that you could develop a process for. If you have a teen on staff or some kind of intern, I think this is a good job for them to just gather these stats into a spreadsheet. This can go a long way, just delivering and maintaining contact with your advertisers on a monthly basis, sending their stats. I mean, you guys all know that if you're not already sending, monthly open and click rates, I think it's something to look into. Okay, native advertising. This is the last thing I want to point out. And I'm curious if anyone's doing anything like this. I know a lot of industry publications do this. I really am impressed with what Editor and Publisher does. We're actually a sponsor of Editor and Publisher. We work with them a lot. And what they do is basically native advertising for us through their newsletter. So the last webinar we did with them, they promoted through their daily newsletter, which has a bunch of headlines talking about news relevant to the industry, but it's also got our upcoming event. It's presented as just content. He does clearly label it as a sponsored webinar, but it is great content. These webinars that we do where we bring together real life publishers to talk about their experience, other publishers can listen to that. So to me, as an advertiser, this is a very effective way to get our name out there, to demonstrate our expertise, because we're talking about real solutions that we're providing to weekly and daily newspapers. We're not just saying, hey, look at the latest widget that we built. It's like these are case studies. So I don't know if there's anyone out there doing anything like this. It could play very well into a package deal where you sell a sponsored or native advertising section on your website. You have, the advertisers submit articles where they talk about, let's say it's a landscaper, they could put an article together talking about, best time of year to seed and best techniques for keeping your grass green and, these record hot temperatures out west. And you can have that article run on the website. And then if you have your newsletter set up, like we've talked about, then you could just have that article automatically pull into the newsletter. We got a question from Melissa. I would like to know how much to really charge for newsletter ads and sponsored content. So that's a great question. I kind of want to stay away from that. I wouldn't even want to put a number because I don't personally have the experience pricing these things. We work with newspaper publishers and we support them in the technical setup of these things, but I actually rarely talk to them about their pricing. It's probably a shortcoming, something I should be doing more. I will try to find out for you, Melissa, and see if I can get some info on a few specific publishers that are doing. But that's a great question. Okay, and as I mentioned, this will automatically pull into the newsletter template if you assign a category to the sponsored content category, and then you set up your newsletter template to pull in articles from that category. Okay, so that's all that I've got for the presentation today. Again, sorry it went a little longer than I thought, but we've got some time for questions at the end here. While I wait for those to roll in, I just want to give you all a little bit more background on my company, our hometown. We manage hundreds of newspaper websites and native apps across North America. We've been doing this for 24 years, and we have a WordPress-based platform that has been customized for newspapers. So all the plugins, all the software updates are just handled by us, but you get to use the really user-friendly CMS WordPress. And this is a family business, again, founded in 1997. And our number one priority is customer support. I always say this, and these are some of the ways that we really live that mantra. First of all, one of our most popular services is to extract the articles from the PDF to HTML. And I mentioned this, I think, earlier briefly, but this is something we've been doing from the very beginning. And still, 80% of our customers love this. I didn't think it would still be as popular as it is today, but people, often don't want to deal with updating the website. So if you're in that boat, you should definitely contact me. We'll set up a free prototype for you. The other thing with our focus on customer support is that the platform is constantly evolving. The newsletter system we have today looks nothing like what it did 10 years ago because we're always getting ideas from publishers on how they're using it. What ways can we help them use it more effectively, or can we automate some of the ways that they're doing it? And the segmentation of the newsletter audience into those three lists is a very good example of that. We had a publisher that was manually doing that. They would export their subscriber list and do a remove duplicate on a spreadsheet. I mean, it was like this whole process. Then we heard that they had success, though, doing that, doing those targeted offers. So we turned it into a plugin. And that's the nice thing about being on WordPress. It's very customizable. And if a plugin doesn't exist on the platform that you need, we can often just go download it or modify it. So again, I really appreciate everyone's time today. And for taking this time out of your day to hear me out. So I just wanted to, as a small token of my appreciation, offer you all a free prototype. If you're interested, just go to ourhometown.com. I'll drop this link in the chat, but you just fill out this short form, tell us a little bit about your paper, and you can even upload a recent PDF, and we'll turn that into a website. We're going to use the same process that we use for our other customers on a weekly basis to extract the articles and put them in HTML. We'll do that to create a rapid prototype for you in just a couple of days. Definitely reach out to me if you're interested on that. And yeah, it should take less than a week for us to turn that around. A couple other things I just want to mention. We've got a lot of events at our hometown. This is another element of our focus on customer support. We are heavily invested in training our customers, and because we're digital people, we're not doing the training. We're finding the best trainers in the industry and setting you up with them. So Kevin Slimp, we have an ongoing sponsored webinar series. And so the next one that we have, we do these monthly. The next one is July 29th, and it's going to be on getting people to pick up your paper. I've actually seen this talk from him before, and it's wonderful. He talks about different quantitative ways to improve the design of your paper, the layout, the content you're covering, how to do surveys and understand what your audience is interested in. So this is a great session. Also doing one on InDesign, mastering InDesign styles on September 9th. And then we're going to be announcing the remaining 2021 schedule shortly. And if anyone is at all considering switching to our hometown and you want to see that prototype setup for us, I can get you into one of these sessions. But if any of you decide to become a customer, then you would have full access, free for all your staff to all of Kevin's works. We pay for each ticket, and he charges about $70 per seat for each of these trainings. So this is a great value that we just like to offer our customers as a thank you for being with us. Okay, and I'm going to pause here. We got a question from Melissa. We're a small 1,500 circulation weekly paper. We come out on Wednesdays. We send out an update newsletter on Mondays. We just pick that day out of a hat. Do you recommend a better day or additional newsletter? If I had to choose, if I was going to choose a day out of my hat, it would be the same day that the print edition comes out, just because you can promote the fact that the print edition is now on the stands. It's going to be on your front porch or whatever. And it just, I think it presents just a little bit more of a united from the marketing. So that would be my only suggestion with that. If you're going to do it on a different day, I think you want some unique content, because what you're doing is you're publishing your newsletter 4 or 5 days after the print edition has come out. So I think sending the newsletter out with the current print edition stories on the day that print comes out makes sense. But maybe you keep the Monday update to just publish, online only content or breaking news, things that aren't going to be, that are ahead of the print edition. That would be how I would approach it. But again, we would love to invite anyone to join us for Kevin's upcoming events. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email or just drop a message in the chat and I'll follow up with you. Okay, and one other event before you all go, I just want to promote, we've got an upcoming webinar, another one with editor and publisher, where we're going to be talking about apps, audio news, and how it all relates to the growing mobile audience we're seeing with our customers. It's not uncommon for even the most remote publisher in the most rural community, that you can picture, to have 70% of their traffic coming from mobile. And this is a trend. It's just been increasing ever since the introduction of the smartphone. It's now the vast majority of traffic to local news sites. And so in our view, all of our publishers that we work with, we really try to help them focusing on the design of the digital experience around mobile, both having a mobile responsive website. That's step one. So if your site right now, when you go to it on a mobile browser or you open it from the newsletter that you get on your phone, that's going to open it in a mobile browser. If the text is really small and hard to read, then you're not on a responsive website. So you want to make sure that you can change that and get it responsive, because so much of the traffic is just naturally coming from mobile. But then you can get even more people coming from mobile if you can get them to download a native app. That's a great way to pull in people, especially if you have push notifications enabled. And these are just ways, the audience is changing. So we just need to be thinking about our digital presence, to best suit their needs. And then also just a quick mention, another thing that we're really focused on to serve the growing mobile on-the-go audience is to offer audio content so that people can listen to the news while they're on the go, they're driving, they're hiking. They don't need to be staring at their phone. They could be on their phone and still accessing the website through mobile, but they're listening to the news. So we're going to talk to some publishers that are doing both of those things. They've got native apps, they've got responsive design, and they've got audio playlists of them. So we're going to be announcing this with the editor and publisher, and we'll have a sign up on their website shortly. So stay tuned for more on that. Okay, so thank you all very much again. I appreciate you setting this up, Erica, and really Susan, Melissa, Gretchen, thank you so much for your participation. I really appreciate your feedback. And Melissa, I would definitely love to follow up with you if you have questions on the RSS feed for MailChimp, or if you'd like to see what we could do for you on WordPress. But that's all I've got for now. So I'll turn it quickly back over to Erica.